Here is how to make your Google Looker Studio reports interactive, and the first way I will show you to do it is by changing the dates of your report. So you can go to any Looker Studio report. In this case, I am using one with Google Analytics data, and you will see that there is nothing, so I don't know what date I am seeing. By default, as far as I know, Google Looker Studio displays the last 28 days, but I will change this. So I will go to the menu, and I will click on an option that says, or that is called Add a Control, and there is an option that is called Date Range Control. I will click there and I will paste this new widget wherever I want. I will paste it right here in the top right corner of my report. So by default, I am seeing the last 28 days, but I will change it. So I will click on the widget, and the new date I will choose is from October 1st to October 19 of 2022, and I will click on Apply. And as you can see, I am changing the date of my report. But there is a problem with static dates. Whenever someone opens this report, whatever the date it won't change. It is fixed, it is static. So I will change that. I will make this date dynamic depending on the current date. I will explain. I will go again to a widget, and you will see a word that says fixed. You will click there. You will see it in the top right corner of this window. And now you will see options to make your date dynamic. So you can display the last 7 days, the last 14 days, etc. You can display this month to date, this year to date, whatever. For this exercise, I will do it with this month to date. I will choose this option. And also, I can choose if I want to exclude today's data, or I can include it here in this option. But I will leave it as it is, and I will click on Apply. And here, I have a report that will change my data accordingly. So if I am in November, this month is November's, then it will display November's data. This is how it works, but this date range is changing the entire dashboard. What about changing the dates for a particular chart? So I will go to a specific chart, and I will show you how to do this exercise, how to change different dates per chart. So on my report, I will go to this scorecard, and in the right side of the panel where you can choose metrics, dimensions, and so on, you will see an option that is called default date range. By default, it displays automatic. Automatic means that it will use the date range of your widget. But I will go with custom. And on custom, instead of this month to date, I will choose this year to date. So this date will respect or will apply only for this chart. For the rest of the chart, for the rest of the dashboard, we will use the one that we are choosing on the widget. And this is how you can change the dates of your Google Looker Studio reports. Here's how you can add controls to your Google Looker Studio report so your dashboards are interactive. In the past, I showed you how to add dates. This time, I will show you how to add controls or buttons to filter your data. And I will tell you what I mean with this. This is a Google Ads dashboard that is displaying the overall performance of all my campaigns. I can see impressions, clicks, conversions, but I want to see the performance of a specific campaign or a specific ad group or device, etc. So here I will click on campaign, and I will choose only one of the campaigns, and now my data is filtered by this campaign. This is the data only and particularly for that campaign. This way I can add context to the data and see only the things I want to visualize. How to do this? I will create a dropdown, and you will see it is super simple. So here I have a Google Looker Studio dashboard that you can take. You can take any dashboard, and you will go to Add a Control, and on Add a Control, you will choose the option dropdown. Anyways, you can explore all the optional lists, but I will use the dropdown because I think it is the most common one. I will use dropdown, I will put it here, and I am breaking down my data by date, but I don't want date. Instead, I want to visualize by source because I want to filter where my traffic comes from. And the second thing is I want to see, hey, my traffic comes from Google, from Direct, from Bing, and so on. But I want to sort this data better. So in metric, I can use a metric to sort the data. For instance, I want to see what source is bringing the most conversions. So I will use this metric for conversions. And now I have sorted the values of this dimension by conversions. What does this mean? It means that the dimension is source. The values of the dimension is, okay, the sources are direct, organic, email, social. And I want to display the order by most conversions. That's the query I just created. And I have a button that I can use to change. So with this button, what I can do, what a user can do is, hey, I want to filter my data only by organic traffic. And boom, all the data of this report is only filtering organic traffic. And this is how you can break down your data with filters and controls. See you in the next lesson about filters and controls. In this lesson, I will show you how to add sliders to your Google Looker Studio report so we can see an additional way to use filters and controls to make your reports interactive. And for sliders, I will do an exercise. I have this Google Looker Studio report where I have already added a drop-down to display the sources and to filter them, and also a search bar. It is time for me to add this slider. So I will create a new page. I will go in the top left page, in the top left section of Google Looker Studio, and I will see an option that says page 1 of 2. I will click there, and an option to display a new page, a new blank page will show up, and I will go to add. I will go to add a page, and now I have a blank page. It is time to connect data. So I will go to resource, manage added data sources. You know this already. And here I will add a new data source. So in this new data source, I will type, for instance, Facebook ads. I will choose other metrics, of course. I will connect my Facebook ads account. Remember, this is something that we saw in our lesson on how to connect your data to Google Looker Studio. I will choose my Facebook ad account. And now I have a table. You can use whatever connector. The idea is that you have a table with a metric so you can create a slider and you understand how it works. So here I have a table where I display my CTR broken down by date. I want to see the CTR that I have every day. So here, now to add the slider, I will go to add a control, and on add a control, I will go to a slider, and I will put it right here. It is not working. Why? Because the values that I need to use for this are metrics, not dimensions. And this one, this hour, is a dimension. So instead of hour, I will use CTR. Now I can display the CTR. The next step is going to style because I want to change the range I want to visualize. So I want to change the range from 0 to 1%, for instance. And I will click on view. Now viewers can interact with this slider. For instance, I want to only see the dates whose CTR belong to a range that I defined. So here I will change the CTR. I only want to display from 0.28 to 0.64%. And now I am filtering the data, and now I am only visualizing the dates that respect this date range. And this is how you can use sliders on your Google Looker Studio reports to filter not your dimensions, but your metrics. Here's how to add search bars on Google Looker Studio reports. You can go to any Google Looker Studio report. In this case, I am using one with Google Analytics data. And on the menu, you will find an option that is called Add a Control. In the third option, you will see one that is called Input Box. That's the same thing as a search bar. So I will use that widget and I will paste it wherever I want in this report. By default, it is using date for the filter, but this is not what I want. So I will click on this new widget, and for the control field, instead of date, I will search for page title. Now my filter works with page title. So let's do an example. I will type something like Google and I will enter, and it removed all the data. So what is happening here? This is saying if the page title is equal to Google, then show me the data. But there is no page that is exactly called like Google. So I will make this rule less restrictive. I will go to style and I will change the condition. Instead of equals, I will do it with contains. You can do it also with the starts, with a regular expression, but I will do it with contains. I think it is the most common one. So with contains, now I can try it again. I will type Google, and now it will filter my traffic only with the pages whose page title contains the word Google. And here is how you can create a search bar on Google Looker Studio. Now we will learn how to use optional metrics. Optional metrics are another way to make your Google Looker Studio reports interactive, and you will love it. I will tell you why. It is very common that you want to visualize multiple metrics in a single dashboard, and this is an example of my Google Analytics data. I want to visualize views, sessions, conversions, and so on. But I have the same chart type for different metrics. What about if I have a single chart for these four metrics? I will tell you what I am talking about. So I will add a new page and I will go to insert or to add a chart, and I will add a time series. Here in the time series, I already have a time series that I am breaking down my data, my date, and views. So I am visualizing my views, but I want to visualize my conversions, remember. So I will turn on the option that says optional metrics that is underneath my metrics. And here in optional metrics, I will add the other metrics. So I will add sessions, total users, and events. I will go to a view mode and I will show you how this works. Here, nothing is happening, nothing is special. But if I hover over this chart, an icon will show up in the top right corner of this chart. And if I click there, you see that I can choose the metrics that I want to display. So instead of views, I want to visualize sessions. I will remove views and I will keep sessions. And as you can see, I can visualize multiple metrics in a single chart. So your charts or your dashboards are not that cluttered. Now, there is something. It is not obvious for users to hover on the charts. So I will show you how to change and to solve that. I will go back to edit. I will go back to this chart and I will go back to style. And on style, I will go to an option that says chart header. By default, your headers are hidden. They only show when you hover over a specific chart. So I will change it and I will put always show. And with always show, your users always will see this icon where they can change their metric. And with this, you can add optional metrics so you have a single chart for multiple metrics and to make your reports interactive on Google Looker Studio. I will see you in the next lesson. Another option to make your Google Looker Studio reports interactive is with drill downs, and they are very similar to optional metrics. I will tell you why. We have this chart that already has optional metrics, and if you haven't seen that lesson, I encourage you to do it. It is part of our Google Looker Studio tutorial. But what I want to do is this thing. Let's say I want to add a date range and I want to visualize my traffic data over a period of a year. So I will change this year to date. I will put this year to date and boom, I am seeing my traffic over the entire year, date by date. The problem is that using dates sometimes is very hard to analyze. So I want to break down my data by week, by month, by year, and so on. But I don't want to create different dimensions or different charts for this. So I will click on this chart and I will select and turn on the option that says drill down. It works the same as optional metrics. And with drill down, automatically it will allow you to select or year or month or date in the same chart. And actually, if you want to choose week or day of week, you can do it as well. So here I will add a new field and I will display day of week, for instance. Now I will go to view to show you how this works. Here I added week and now I have two options because I added an optional metric in the past. I see the icon, but also I am seeing arrows so I can change the date type. For instance, if I click here, I am seeing date, but if I click again, I will see that I am breaking down my data by day of week, and I can see that most of my traffic comes on Mondays. I also can see that my traffic has been increasing, and I haven't noticed that with my date, but when I see this by month, I see that I had a spike in October. Also, I want to break down this thing by date or by week. For instance, in SEO, you don't want to visualize your data by date because SEO is a more long-term thing. So I encourage you to visualize your SEO data, for instance, per week, so you can see the trends and changes on searches. I will show you another useful way to create filters on your Google Looker Studio reports, and I will do it with this chart. It turns out that I want to convert that pie chart into a filter. So I will go to edit, I will click on that pie chart, and if I scroll down to the bottom of the panel where I can change the dimensions and metrics and so on, you will see an option that says cross filtering, and I will enable it. Once I enable it, I will go to the view mode and I will click on the pie chart, particularly on the mobile section. And here, as you can see, I am filtering my data to only show mobile. This is the same as a dropdown, but what I am doing is that I can convert every visualization, every chart that I have in my report as a button, as a filter. I will do it with another example. I will go back. So here, as you can see, if I hover on the table, on the chart, you will see an arrow so I can move back or I can reset this filter. And this is back to normal. Now, what I am doing is I will click on the table only on the pricing page. And now this is filtering my traffic only for the pricing page. And as you can see, I found an insight. I see that the traffic of my pricing page is dropping steadily, even going down to zero. I don't think it is a problem of sales, it is a problem of measurement. But thanks to this filter, thanks to this cross filtering in my charts, I could spot this thing. I will show you one of the most underrated features on Google Looker Studio, which is parameters. And parameters allow you to put your own data on your Google Looker Studio reports. And I will show you one of the use cases. For instance, if you're an international marketer and you have different Facebook ad or Google Ads accounts with different currencies, you will have this issue. Some of your ad accounts are in dollars, in euros, in Colombian pesos, and so on. I will show you how you can normalize it, how you can use the same currency conversion just by changing the currency. So I have this report where I am showing ad spend in Colombian pesos, just as an example. And in the left table, I want to turn that ad spend into US dollars. How I will do it? I could do it with a formula, but if I want to do it massively in a bulk for all my charts, then it is not working the same. I will show you what I will do. I will go to this chart and I will see that it has amount spent, and I will change the name of this field from amount spent to Colombian pesos. So I want to see dollars in one end and Colombian pesos in the other end. Then I will go to resource and I will go to manage added data sources. I will click there and I will go to edit my data source because I can edit data source. For instance, here I can create my own fields, and once I create them here, they will show always in the reports. You don't need to create every formula one by one. Anyways, here I will go to add a parameter. You will see how we will use this option. And the new parameter name is a new field, is a new dimension or metric that I will create with this data source. And the parameter, I will call it currency conversion. And the type of field is a number. So it will be a whole number. And finally, the default value of this currency will be 5,000. I will say that a single US dollar is 5,000 pesos, Colombian pesos, thanks to the Fed and the Colombian government. Now, I will click on done and I will have created my own parameter. What I will do here, I will show you. So I will click here on the US chart, on the US spend chart, and I will do a change. I will create a field, and this field will be called US dollars. And what is the formula? The ad spend in pesos divided by the currency conversion that by default is 5,000. So I will do this change. And now I am seeing my ad spend in dollars. But what about if one day I want to make that the currency conversion is not 5,000 but 4,000? I will show you what I will do. I will go to add a control. I will go to input box, and the field that I will use as input is the parameter. As you see, there is a purple new field that I am creating. So I will put conversion, and by default is showing 5,000. So you can simulate different scenarios with parameters. I can input the data so my chart change. What about if I change to 4,500 pesos? Now the value will change, as you can see. And as you can see, if I change to 3,000, now the value is changing as well. So if you want to do this, to have different conversion scenarios, you can do this change. You can actually input your data to change all dimensions. And what other use cases I have for this? For instance, if I want to calculate the ROI of a campaign or the actual CPA or the agency commission, imagine, I can create a parameter that says expected margin. And I can input a different value and I can model different scenarios of return investment or the actual cost per acquisition. Or if I am an agency, I can show the ad spend. I can have a parameter that is called margin. And if I input 10%, then it will increase automatically the 10% of the commission. Something like that. This is how you can create or you can put your own data on your Google Looker Studio reports with parameters.